And we are live.
Ooh, rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Hello, Frederick. How are you doing today?
Good, good, Jan. How are you?
Excellent. I had 2 fantastic days at Technology for Marketing at the Excel Center in London. And it was buzzing. Thousands of marketers in a room. What
Awesome.
could go wrong? It was a really fantastic time. Amazing to see so many people together. I think it was the biggest event I've been to since the end of since before the pandemic. So it was really,
Yeah.
really good.
But now I see you're back locked in your small room again, just like I am.
Back in my room, absolutely. Flew back to Denmark yesterday. Absolutely.
Awesome.
How about you? How are things going in Finland?
They're good. They're good. Winter is coming, I guess. But
Winter is coming.
yeah, leaves have started to fall. But really exciting times with Leadoo. What we're going to talk about today are sort of the Leadoo 3.0 platform and the new features that we're enabling for customers thanks to that. And that's something that really excites me. I mean, there's some really awesome things that we're going to announce today, or about to announce in a few more minutes. And
Absolutely.
so
So
we're
we're
really
just
close.
letting some more people to come through. I see a lot of you are already joining. So we'll give it one or two more minutes, and then we'll dive straight in there. But welcome to this Leadoo webinar on how to turn your website into your best performing sales channel. And thank you for taking the time to join us today. We see that there's quite a variety of attendees with us, both current Leadoo customers, as well as some potentially new ones as well. Really what I want to do ideally is to make this as interactive an experience as possible. So please go ahead and say hi and introduce yourselves in the chat on the right-hand side. And then tell us also where you're beaming in from. Always interested to see, what parts of the UK, Europe, whereabouts you're from.
We have Nathaniel from Manila joining us tonight, which is awesome.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Wonder what time it is in Manila right now. They must be about 8 hours ahead, I believe. So yeah, it's certainly Friday night.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's some commitment there.
Exactly.
And also, at any stage, please ask questions throughout the presentation. There's a question bubble sort of at the top right corner, and we'll try to answer those as well during the presentation. So
excellent. I think we're 3 minutes in, so we should probably get started.
Let's get going. We're incredibly excited to have you all here to announce the launch of some game-changing new features and products with the all-new Leadoo conversion platform. For those of you joining us for the first time, Leadoo is a conversion platform, and our mission is to help our customers to activate their passive website visitors, convert them into leads or opportunities, and to understand the buyer behavior and what impacted those conversions. For all you established customers, don't worry, we aren't changing our proposition. We have simply invested heavily in developing new features that will enable you to hyper-personalize your website visitor experience with the aim to turn your website into your best performing sales channel. So before we dive into things, let's walk through today's agenda, and then we'll make some introductions.
If you're not sharing your screen yet, so
okay. Let's
see anything. But while you're looking that up, maybe a short history of Leadoo as a company and sort of why we are at this mission of activating, converting, and understanding. So the company is roughly 4 years old now, or young in our case, and sort of we were the first in the world to bring in activation widgets to the website that sort of combined the uniqueness of chatbots with the experience of being non-disturbing and really driving value on your website. And sort of with the unique angle of not only activating users due to like content that's really time-bound and interesting, but actually converting them. And that's something you can see from the name of the company as well, Leadoo. We help you convert more leads from your website. And on top of that, the third leg that we're standing on is the understanding. So once you've converted visitors, you want to understand that what brought in those visitors? How can I find more of those that convert? So raise the probabilities on all fronts, have more interactive content that's actually helping the people in their stage of the buyer journey, but also drive more of those kind of people that we already know are our ICP, the right sized companies from the right industries, the right decision makers from the right sort of advertising sources. But let's dive into the platform and what it's all
Yes, let's get started. Let's go through a quick agenda here. And the next,
we can see your screen still. I can't see it.
You still can't see it. That's a bit strange. Let's see here. Sharing screen. I'm going to share here. Is that sharing now?
Nope.
How odd. Something's going funny here.
I can try to share my screen, Jan, if you want to.
Yes, go ahead. Please do.
Let's see here. Can somebody say if you can see it? Oops, I'll go back a few slides. I guess we can see the screen now. Can somebody confirm, or can you, Jan, see my?
Well, no.
Nope.
Okay.
Not yet.
Something seems to be happening. Let's see here. Are you still trying to share? Yeah.
Well, Jan, if I guess you have to select which widget is visible to everyone.
Is that it? Is that what
I guess so.
Okay.
Can you see the screen, or can somebody confirm if you can see the?
Should be able
all right, now everybody can see it. Excellent.
All right.
So I'll be the driver. Let's ad-lib this. You were supposed to be the driver, but I'll be that.
Good stuff. Well, so for just starting off with the agenda for the next sort of 45 or so minutes, we're going to kind of set the scene in terms of where we are in terms of the new digital native buyer and how they own all the cards. We'll walk through a little bit our core philosophy and how we are enabling our customers to help convert to a much larger extent. And then we'll run through these exciting new propositions and features: Leadoo Personalizer, Leadoo Sales, and Conversion Analytics. Next slide.
All right. Before we get started, who are you, Jan? What are you doing here?
Who am I? Well, I am the VP of Sales at Leadoo. Most of my MarTech experience has been as a facilitator of conversation in business between marketers and technology providers. So creating great content programs, networking programs for invitation-only CMO events around the world. In the last 5 years, I've been in tech startups, and I joined Leadoo about 10 months ago, and really loving contributing to our growth journey. And yourself, Frederick, over to you.
Yes, I'm the COO, apparently, it says on the slide. Yes, I'm the Chief Operating Officer, and sort of my role is a combination of technology and go-to-market. And that's basically my background as well. For the past 20 plus years, I've been working in digital marketing and driving growth in different ways for startups of different sizes in the US, in Finland, and Sweden, and so forth. And today, I hold the hat for all the legal and GDPR stuff as well. I know people will fall asleep at this point. I fell asleep a couple of years ago as well when I started with it. But sort of on top of that, so technology marketing, I'm here today to show you the platform. And then after this, if you're interested in a private demo, you can reach out to Jan or me even, and we'll be happy to show you more of the platform. So,
next slide. So, are you in presentation mode, Freddie?
Yes.
Okay. So, for some reason, this particular slide hasn't quite worked. But so we'll move on from that one.
All right.
We've harped on enough. So let's talk about how the world has changed. Now, this is kind of stating the obvious. We all know this. Next slide. But what I'm talking about is the business of buying has changed. So it's really almost flipped on its head, supercharged by the pandemic. And really, if we don't evolve and change with them, we're at best going to miss out on huge revenue growth opportunities, and at worst, become irrelevant. So what do I mean when I say that buying behavior has changed? Next slide. Firstly, more than 80% of buying actions are now done online and independent from vendors. Next slide. Digital native buyers are the norm, and their time spent meeting with potential suppliers has collapsed. And assuming your buyers are assessing your competitors' solutions as well, only 4 to 5% of their time is actually spent meeting with your sales representatives during their buying process.
And
So,
I'm sure we can, sorry, yeah, I'm just thinking personally here, like I think we can all attest to this fact, like looking for a new refrigerator, for instance, you'd probably end up on Whirlpool's website, but you might end up buying something completely different. So
correct, absolutely. And then obviously in the B2B space, your sales representatives are just have a lot less time with the buyers. And so we're much more reliant on building a really engaging and interactive experience on our websites to help them through that buying process.
yeah.
I mean, buyer journeys, as you can see on this slide, are really multi-touch and non-linear and far more complex than they were even a few years ago. So we really must appreciate and empathize with the buyers on our websites and understand that each of them will be at different stages in their buying journey. Next slide. And in fact, 96% of the visitors who come to your website for the first time are just simply not ready to buy. At best, 10% of those website visitors are actively looking for a solution, but so 90% of them are actually passive. Next slide. So we really need to be aware of not continuing to provide very static, one-way, inefficient experiences that really assumes the buyer is ready to make a decision there and then and have to deal with one of these really dreadful contact forms. It's just not sustainable. This contact form obviously is a bit of an extreme example for effect. Certainly hope you don't have one of these on your website. But we really need to think about the sort of CTAs and make sure that there's the experience is nothing like this. Overall, I mean, our view is, why should we expect the visitor to do all the heavy lifting? For some reason, we're really happy and hyper conscious in creating interesting, multi-sensory experience for offline buyers, but we leave online visitors on their own to figure things out for themselves. Next slide. And this ultimately is the consequence of that static user experience. For some reason, it's an accepted reality that for every 100 visitors that come to your website, on average, 98 of them will leave without converting. It's quite a surprising stat. And, have we accepted this reality? Well, no, we certainly haven't. At Leadoo, this is our mission to really change this.
This was the foundation for founding Leadoo 4 years ago as well. We felt that it's insane that it's okay when, this is even, the reality is probably even worse than this. If you look at your own Google Analytics data, how many people actually convert, most often it's like 0.2%. So it's like 99.8% that leave the site. And at the same time, you can see that they're spending like 3 minutes, 4 minutes on your website. They're actually interacting and reading content on your website. And if you're selling a fairly advanced product, let's say solar cells for your roof, for instance, I don't think anybody of us go and browse solar cells like photo voltage specifications and stuff like that on a Friday evening just for the fun of it. Most likely they are interested in it if they're spending so many minutes on your site. And still, we're somehow okay with 1,000 people coming to our website and 2 people leaving their contact information. That was mind-boggling for us when we founded the company, and that's our mission to try to change that.
Absolutely. And not to sort of steal your GDPR privacy thunder there, Frederick, but this makes this particular stat particularly worrying, because with that GDPR and privacy regulation, it's really already made targeted ads and messages harder. And there's an incoming change as well next year, which is a cookieless world. And this makes things even harder. So when somebody visits your website, to find ways to collect their first-party data and to convert them into a lead or opportunity, because you might not get another chance.
Yeah, basically, you've probably all seen it already. Retargeting has become far worse in the past few years, just because less and less people consent to them being tracked. And because of that, Facebook, Google, and all the other advertising platforms, they have less information. They have smaller audiences that they can do retargeting to.
Absolutely. So, as mentioned earlier, this is our philosophy and mission: to help our customers to activate their passive website visitors, convert them into leads or opportunities, and understand the buyer behavior and what impacted those conversions. Next slide. And with our current tools, insights, and our experts internally at Leadoo, we typically help increase conversion rates anywhere from 30 to 70% for our customers. So this is broadly how we enable your website to convert visitors. So firstly, we identify them, who they are, what company they represent, and what motivated them to come to the website. Next slide. Then we aim to activate them with one of the many interactive tools that we have. And this can be anything from helping navigate your site and signposting content pages to activating with tests, calculators, product guides, surveys, etc., so that they can make themselves familiar with your company's offering in more interactive and fun ways. Next. And then this is when you get the chance to convert by offering a variety of CTAs. We have customers who are converting a lot already into high volume of leads. They can also focus our tools to actually qualify the buyers and that interest more. So you can leverage many tools in many ways. And finally, we aim to understand the buyer behavior and what actually impacted that conversion. And this is an area that is now supercharged with our conversion analytics, which Frederick will guide us through shortly.
And we have a question here about B2C and recruitment bots in particular. And I thought I could try to ad-lib an example here, because recruitment is a gold mine for us. If we look at the employees currently working for Leadoo, probably half or roughly half of all our employees have come through our own recruitment bots. And what that basically means is that from the identify part, what motivated them to come to the website, probably an advertisement saying that, hey, take a cultural test if you would fit here as an employee, or if you would have fun working at Leadoo, for instance. And they take this test, and after that, they get sort of personalized. They get a personalized experience, and they get personalized tips and tricks that, hey, this is what we do as a company. This is what we stand for. Sounds like it resonates quite well with what you're sort of looking for as well. And then we help them convert. Hey, would you like to talk to somebody at the company to find out more that if this would be a future company for you to work with as well? And so the answer is definitely, but you can see that this example works in any industry, from solar panels to building houses to roofing to anything from B2B, B2C recruitment. It's basically the same to identify, activate, and convert those website visitors. I hope that answered the question. Should we jump over to the personalizer part?
Yes, let's do that.
So let's imagine that I walk into a department store today looking for, lack of imagination, let's say I'm looking for a refrigerator again. Friday evening, it's hard to come up with good examples. So I'm looking for a refrigerator, and tomorrow I take my wife with me to the same store, and the same salesperson is there greeting me again. He or she will probably remember me from the day before, and he or she won't ask the same questions again about the size and I don't know what specifications you can have on a refrigerator, but nonetheless, they will have a personalized experience. They will remember me in some way, and also they will react to me in a different way if I walk into the store alone or together with my wife. And this is what personalization is really about. And this is something that we've sort of left on the website. We forget about personalization on the website, and we think it's time to change that. That's a mega trend that's happening all over the place, that people expect a genuine personalized experience. So what does that mean? What does that entail? So we have an example here, a small conversation saying that, welcome back. Do you need help to choose the right plan for recruitment for the recruitment industry? Yes, please. And okay, so we have the recruitment industry information here, and we know the fact that you've been here previously. That already feels familiar. It doesn't feel creepy. It's not talking about my mother's shoe size or my bank account number or anything, all the creepy information that Google and those larger corporations have about us. But it's all actually helpful to me. It talks about the right industry vertical that I'm representing already when I visit the website, and it sort of has a personal experience. It knows that I've been here before. This is a very small, subtle thing, but the amount of conversions that happen thanks to these personalizations is huge. So we can use things like traffic source, country, company size, employee amount, company revenue, and the fact that if you're a returning user or returning visitor or not, and or which, for instance, UTM campaign you came from. Did you land on this landing page from a Facebook ad that talked about X, or did you come from a LinkedIn ad that talked about Y? So let's have a personalized experience so the journey stays the same all through.
I spoke to a lot of marketers in the last couple of days at Technology for Marketing, and a big thing is, we've been sort of taught for many years that content is king, that we need to produce as much content as possible to get higher up on the SEO, organic searches, but also to have as much information to ensure that the people that come to our website can find the information that they need. The problem now is that a lot of websites are very cumbersome. So you want to be pointing your website visitors to the most contextually relevant content for them. So, for example, if it's a business that turns over 100 million, you might want to serve them with different content experience to, say, a business that turns over 5 or 10 million. So this is another thing that makes the whole website experience not just personalized, but also more efficient.
Absolutely. Here's another example. This is a sort of a customer of ours called Finders Seekers, and you can Google up their website and have a look at Finders Seekers after this, or right now even if you want to. If you look through the menu, you can see that the experience is really personalized. They have different services, and they have embedded in-page bots in the site that talk about the content that you're reading about right now. It's not random content. It's really personalized to the sort of content that you're reading about. But this example over here, this is a Photoshopped example. I don't mean that Saku's face has been Photoshopped. I'm sorry for if I implied anything like that. But here he greets me by saying, hello and welcome back to Finders Seekers. What are you looking for? And the second alternative here is, I'm looking for recruitment trainings in Norway. And you can see here that it's personalized. I might be coming from Norway. I'm not, but let's imagine that I am. And recruitment trainings, I might have told this website previously that I'm looking for recruitment trainings. Or it could even go as advanced as Jan has been on this website previously, and Lido, recognizing that me and Jan represent the same company, they might end up personalizing the experience to both of us just based on what Jan has answered previously. So the possibilities with personalization are immense. But if you go and have a look at Finders Seekers, just by the small personalization tweaks based on which page they are on, the effects are already immense. So what can you then do with this personalization if we concentrate on the bullet points on the right-hand side? So we can use anything from previous behavior, what they've told them about, their buying stages, basically depending on what UTM tags or sources they've come through, combined with what they've told us previously, combined with which page they happen to be on. Demographics, so demographics and company information, where they're based geographically, the company firmographics, like how large is the company, which industry is the company representing. And this information is sort of available without them actually telling it. Based on the IP address, we can dig up this information from public registers, so we know who owns the IP address, which is public information. And then the traffic source as well. So the possibilities are immense, but already by having like 1 or 2 personalized experiences, the difference is going to be immense. And here on the right-hand side now, you can see an animation showing how to build those personalized experiences. So if we talk about a traditional chatbot, a different chatbot can open up from the lower right-hand corner, depending on whether you're a returning visitor and the industry that you're representing and many other parameters. But it also applies to any kinds of interactive elements that you have on the website, like those in-page bots that we alluded to previously. That's Leadoo Personalizer. I'm really excited about Leadoo Personalizer. It takes sort of the website experience to a whole new level, like greeting people in the same way that we greet them in stores. It's not going to be 100% the same, but already like having two different alternatives. Let me give you an example. So let's say that me and Jan represent different companies. Jan represents a company with 10,000 employees. I represent a company with 100 employees. Most probably the purchasing process within our companies will be different. So the website would know that Jan most probably has a procurement process, whereas in my case, my boss or I myself can make a decision just like that. So we can give different content at different stages depending on those facts. And this depends on your own ICP. What ICP are you going after? If we know that a specific industry or vertical is really important to you, let's make a personalized experience for that industry so that we convert even more out of those visitors that visit the same site. So that's Leadoo Personalizer, 1 out of 3 new features that we're launching today. The next feature is Leadoo Sales. Before I move on to this one, any question about Personalizer? I can't see all of the questions, so, or Jan, anything?
We haven't had any questions come through as of yet, but this is a good prompt for our audience to go ahead and ask questions. We're very happy to answer. I think something that is potentially, intimidating when we talk about personalization. Obviously, personalization is something that's been around for a number of years. It's a buzzword. I think a big thing is just to get started with personalization, and you're never going to get it perfect from the start. It's a real iterative process, and so when you're building these sorts of experiences, start small, test and learn, and continually iterate and reiterate to improve that experience.
Yeah, and just to emphasize the fact, with Leadoo, you're never alone. So we build those personalized experiences for you. We have roughly 1,000 customers. On average, they have roughly 10 different conversion tools in use. That's 10,000 different conversion tool implementations that we have built and still maintain for our customers. So personalization can be a really easy step forward and have a real business impact by converting more of your website visitors.
We have a question here, Frederick, on personalization from Noel. Is personalization for repeat visitors purely based on previous interaction with the bot?
No, not necessarily. So you could have been on the website without interacting with a bot as well. So Lido is a whole conversion platform. We have the analytics part that is on your website, regardless if you have any bots there or not. And thanks to that, we know which pages you have visited and what you've done there previously, regardless if you're interacted with any interactive, not only bots, but visual elements and visual smart forms and in-page bots and so forth. So not necessarily only based on previous interactions.
We have a couple more questions, actually, have just come through. From Tom, we have, does personalization only work in the in-page bots?
No, the personalization works in all of our tools and technologies, both the chatbot, in-page bot, and visual bots. So that question is apparently from an existing customer because they knew what conversion.
Absolutely, no doubt. The in-page bot is a very popular one. And one from Johnny, how will Personalizer work in a cookieless world next year?
Good question. A lot better than without the personalization. As Jan said previously already, the cookieless world is going to make things more difficult. However, Lido doesn't technically rely upon any cookies. Legally, we still need the same consent as previously, but what the cookieless world basically means is that Safari on iPhone, I have an iPhone right here, it's not supporting cookies anymore. So even if I on my iPhone click, yes, I approve cookies, if it's a third-party cookie, Safari will throw it away. And Google Chrome will start doing the same thing as well next year. So that's a big impact. So even if your website visitors would say that, yes, track me, these browsers will be throwing away the cookies, and Safari already does it today. So with Leadoo, you don't rely upon cookies at all. You rely upon e-tags, which is a different technology. So it's purely a technological angle, which makes Leadoo future-proof and works in a personalized manner in the future as well.
And then one last one before we move on, one from Anna. She says, oh, sorry, I just joined, but am I right to assume we can offer a VIP experience to certain visitors based on their info, like industry, company size, headcount, or revenue? And where does the bot source the information from? Crunchbase?
It's from many different. So first of all, yes, exactly. You're assuming correctly. That's what we can do. So not only the firmographical information, but also like combining that. So I had an example previously about me and Jan visiting the same website, and the conversion tools and the website realizing that me and Jan represent the same company. So we can use that information that somebody else from the same company has been on the website. But the data comes from very many different data sources. We have a third-party licensed data provider that we're using to source that data from.
Excellent.
Excellent. Let's move on to step number 2 out of the 3 features that we're launching today. Leadoo sales. Jan, this is your favorite slide. Do you want to read it out?
I love how I don't have a clear view on what my prospects are doing on our website. Said no salesperson ever.
Yes. And before I go there, actually, there is too big a gap between sales team and marketing teams today. This is something that we feel in the industry is a problem. Sales always feels that marketing isn't bringing enough to the table. Marketing always feels that sales isn't using that information that marketing is providing enough. And specifically when it comes to time-bound data that I can make into an action as a salesperson, we feel that that's missing. There are public registers, and Lido already previously with Lido 2.0, or the one Lido platform before today's launch, already told you that these are the companies that have visited your website. These are their turnovers and so forth and so forth. We can also see there that out of the 5 people from this company, 2 of them have identified themselves. They've given their name and their email addresses and their phone numbers, but 3 haven't. And then we can use this in sales by having the full account-based view on this specific account when we call them or have a negotiation with them. What's missing, however, is a link to your CRM data, seeing that, okay, this deal in this stage, now somebody is visiting the website who is from this stage, so that me as a salesperson, I don't have to crawl through the 10,000 different companies that have been on our website in the past few weeks. I can get sort of curated list into my inbox saying that, hey, there's a screenshot on the right here saying that, hi, Sami, somebody from a specific company with an opportunity worth 400,000 euros visited our website just now. Here's the information. You can tailor this into looking whatever you like, but the most important thing is that instead of having the sales team bombarded with everybody who comes to the website, or the flip side of it, the salespeople being Jack Russell Terriers on the website and attacking every website visitor, instead help the salespeople with time-bound information about something relevant that they care about. Their own leads, their own prospects, their own opportunities and deals that they have in their Salesforce and HubSpots or Microsoft Dynamics already today.
I think this is a really interesting point as well. I think a big problem is that buyers are spending less time with sales reps because they don't maybe get quite enough value from the experience. And with these sort of data empowered sales teams now that we can offer, you can provide much more contextually relevant and have much more meaningful conversations throughout that buying process.
Exactly. Should we go to Noel's question now? It's based on the previous one, just so we don't forget it.
Yes, sure. Go ahead. So following Anna's question, our implementation is purely for B2C, so consumers buying driving courses across the UK. What type of personalization info would there be for a general consumer?
There's loads of things that you can do. Basically, imagination is the limit, but just a few ideas. So based on what you've done previously as a B2C customer, have you been on the driving course website previously? Have you looked at the pricing page previously or not? But also, what drove you to the website this time? Regardless of if it's your first or your 20th time on the website, what was the advertisement? What was the source that drove you to the website? For instance, we might have awareness creation advertising campaigns on Facebook that drive people, any kind of potential people, to the website. We might greet them in a different way, give them different information because they're at an earlier stage of their buying journey compared to somebody who comes from a Google advertisement, for instance, that's tailored for conversions about specific driving courses or upping your sort of driver's license or whatever. So depending on what you're selling, basically the sky is the limit. You can do very many different things with it, both in B2B and B2C. I hope, Noel, that answered your questions. Feel free to ask more and I'll try to elaborate some more. Or we can do it in a private session afterwards or so forth. Jan, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so really, I think coming to our point is, okay, great. Noel says, okay, great, thanks, brilliant. Well answered as always, Frederick, thank you.
Let's hope so.
Knowing, one of the things is, if you click on the next part in this one, you really want to empower your sales reps with real-time insights. So knowing who's on your website and when, and you want to notify them in real time. Now, this is a real kind of potential game changer, so that you can really kind of activate that conversation when you see fit. I think the next thing is really being able to track what prospects are doing, what pages they're viewing, what content they're consuming, and figure out how far into the buying process they are. So are they spending a lot of time on your pricing page, for example, as you suggested, Frederick, as well? These are all triggers and indicators to allow the salesperson to approach that next conversation in a more meaningful, more contextual way. Maybe there are things that they've been looking at on your website and there's been a new blog piece that they haven't seen that is very relevant to what they've been looking at as well. So it gives them a chance to engage directly with them as well. On the website, you can trigger live chat. And also you can ensure that, the really important thing is to reduce that friction between that point when somebody comes onto your website and actually wants to engage with somebody in your sales team, rather than completing a very sort of lengthy contact form and potentially having quite a lot of email tennis, arranging the date and time for that video call. You want to really integrate your calendars as well to avoid that. And so this is a calendar integration is really fundamental to enable salespeople to make that process a lot more efficient for their prospects.
Before we go on, Anna had a question about Lido's CRM integration, and seems like Anna is a current customer as well, about our IP matching data. So basically the company forensics, I assume, like the size of the company, the name of the company, and so forth, the industry, and transferring that data into the CRM system. Now, it's been a while, to be honest, since I've previously built integrations, but I think it is possible today. I think I've seen it being built, but definitely we can, Anna, if you reach out to me or Jan or your customer success manager, we can figure that out and get back to you in your particular case. Definitely something that I think, if it doesn't exist, then it makes sense to build. But I have a fairly sort of certain idea that is possible to do already today. So, but let's get back to that in private. All right, Leadoo sales, if we jump a little bit forward, consists of several different parts. And if I jump forward here, the first one is the real-time alerts to salespeople that we already opened the drapes for a little bit here earlier, so that you can have those triggerings based on your rules, saying, for instance, that if somebody from a pipeline, somebody with a deal in their pipeline comes to the website, goes to the pricing page, does XYZ, then we want to alert Jan and tell him that, hey, your deal, the person who is responsible or the company he's representing is on the website right now. Really time-bound alerts. Customizable workflows. This makes it possible to create these custom rules, really. We have really good templates and best practices for building this, but basically, again, the sky is the limit for what you could do with this. So you can have this very customized, like for different salespeople, different rules, and so forth. Company identification and decision-making data. This means that we have this information that Anna asked about as well. So which company, which industry, as well as the decision makers within that company, the CMO, the CEO, the CSO, so forth. You can see that inside the Leadoo platform. You can see that these are the people, this is their phone number, and so forth. And then the thing that Jan talked about in a couple of slides ago, the automated calendar booking. And why I love this feature myself is the fact that you can use these interactive elements to figure out what the person is interested in, and if they fulfill certain criteria, then we can let them book a time from my or your calendar, my Google Calendar or my Outlook calendar directly. We don't have to open our calendars to the world for everybody to do. We can write these criteria as these interactive elements that ask, for instance, on the front page even, let's say that you have 10,000 or 100,000 visitors to your front page. You can have an in-page bot there that asks different things, directs the person to the right website or the right page on your website, or answers the question directly. But if they have a very specific need and they fulfill your IC criteria, you're fairly certain that the deal is going to be the right size, that it makes sense to talk to them one-to-one, then you can let them book a time from the salesperson's calendar, and even the right salesperson's calendar. You can have several calendars there. And Anna says that's exactly what my team needs. Nice to hear. Really cool to hear. And then we come to two-way integration. So Anna, as Anna already knew from before, we have CRM integrations to, I think, roughly 3,000 different CRMs through different third-party vendors, but a couple of hundred of our own sort of native integrations, all the largest ones that you would know of. But now we are also launching a two-way integration, meaning that not only can Leadoo push these leads into your CRM to your salespeople, and then in your CRM you can direct it to the right people. Now Leadoo can also fetch data in order to be able to know that this company is owned by this salespeople. It has a deal of this size. It is in the 80% likely to convert in the next month category, for instance. Oh, there's two different answers. Sorry. Good point. That's Leadoo sales for you. It's basically helping bridge the gap between sales and marketing, helping marketing drive meaningful leads in real time to the sales team. And at the end of the day, I think sort of the grander scheme of things is bringing the sales and the marketing team closer together. I mean, there's too big a gap between those teams today in pretty much all companies, at least that's the sort of the general consensus in the industry, but bridging that gap. I see that two Annas making friends here in the chat. We're connecting people here in our webinar at the same time. Awesome to hear. All right, Jan, anything you wanted to add to the sales part, or should we move over to the conversion analytics?
Well, look, I think you've covered it all. I'm just really personally very excited about this, and really starting to enable this in our own experience for my sales team as well. So that's very exciting times ahead.
I agree. All right, the final and third part that we're launching today is Leadoo Conversion Analytics. I'm an avid user of Google Analytics and HubSpot from previously, so I'm trying to draw parallels from there. Google Analytics is really good at telling you where do people generally come from. it sometimes loses track of did they actually convert or did they not convert, and sort of they might attribute incorrectly, or quite often actually incorrectly, the sort of reason of conversion. Like if you come from a Facebook ad, then there's 30 days in between, and you come from a Google ad, Google Analytics might show Google ads as the conversion part, even though Facebook was the one that generated the first visit. From a HubSpot point of view, again, HubSpot tracks individuals, and mostly HubSpot is built for nurturing identified website visitors, like people who have already left their email address with you. But then you can go and see what does their timeline look like. Okay, here is where they gave their information through this form, and then they've been to the website, they clicked on these emails and so forth. But you don't really do anything with HubSpot unless you have people converting. I mean, the first problem to solve is to have people that you can nurture. And then the second one is, how do I connect this sort of anonymous Google Analytics data with this really personal data? And then we also have the GDPR question of, can we use Google Analytics thanks to that data being flown over to the US in real time? So an old proverb in marketing is that half the money I spend on marketing is wasted. The problem is I don't know which half. And this is something that we want to change. And what Leadoo Conversion Analytics gives you is a 360 view to all of this, and with a specific focus on conversion, because at the end of the day, that's what you're there for. I mean, you want to nurture the people, of course, but for the reason of converting at a later stage. And in order to know what converts, you have to understand how did they get to that conversion point. Jan showed the slide with 300 different touch points at 500 arrows in different directions. That's sadly reality today. That's how it works. So we need to understand that better and get that 360 view. So there's two different larger feature sets around this conversion analytics that we're launching, and which we're going to look at today. One is source insights. It tells us where did the traffic come from that actually converted. And what I'm interested in is what kind of conversion was it? Because there's a huge difference between somebody that says that, hey, I want to have a look at this PDF file that you produced for me, and somebody says, I want to request a demo of the product. I'm ready to buy. So I want to have a look at these conversions separately, and that's what you can do inside Leadoo. Secondly, I want to have a division between the people that converted on their first visit and separate those from the people that took a longer time, took several visits in order to convert into a lead. And that's what Leadoo Source Insights really gives to you. It lets you look at those that converted later, like in this case, 16.88% took multiple sessions to convert. We will see that, okay, it took 146 days for them, for instance. They talked with 3 different interactive conversion elements on the website, and they visited the website 6 different times. And then I can go in and say that, hey, okay, I'm interested in these that requested a demo, but I'm actually even more interested in those that requested a demo and fulfill our ICP criteria. For instance, their turnover is over 10 million pounds. Then I get a smaller slice, and then I can see that conversion path, because I'm not interested in the smaller companies, because I know that they might not be able to pay that much, or I don't know, if we're selling a huge enterprise product or something. So it makes a big difference on what kind of companies we're looking at and what kind of conversions we're looking at.
I think what's really important here is just to put it into context. As marketers, we are incredibly creative. We're spending a lot of time building amazing campaigns to drive that ICP to our websites. And all those efforts are great, and it's what's driving that sort of volume. With these source insights, now this is something that can be really dissected. So the next time you go cap in hand to your CFO to ask for additional budget for that next campaign, this kind of information is going to be really, I think, excite him or her, because it's a much more scientific approach to how you actually where you actually position your ads and other content pieces across the different platforms.
Yeah, There's a huge difference between 100 people that signed up to our webinar and 50 of those being from the right size, right industry companies, for instance. That's something meaningful. That's something that makes a difference. And also the difference between what kind of conversions they're talking about. All right, the final piece of the puzzle. So not only having a view of those right ICP customers coming to the website at the right time. Let's say that we figured out that 10 million pound and larger turnover companies from the construction industry coming from Facebook ads, they convert the most. All right, let's have a look at those people exactly. Like let's list those people and see what they've done there. This is meaningful for both sales and marketing. From a marketing perspective, we can learn to know our people better. We can see what did they actually do, where did they go next, can we build a hypothesis on why they did that, and can we try to tailor our messaging even better for them. But from a sales perspective, it's actually even more interesting, because when Jan now gets this sales alert saying that his somebody from the company that he has a deal in his Salesforce pipeline is on the website, then he can go and see on that particular company and see every individual what they've done there. He might only have the phone number to 2 of them, and he might know 1 of them from before, but he might see that, okay, there's 6 different people outside of these 2 who haven't identified themselves. They haven't given us their email address, but regardless, we know that they work for the same company. And that's really powerful for anybody in sales to know, especially in sort of larger procurement process, like what are the people they're visiting and what are they looking at?
Absolutely. I went to a recent event with other sales leaders in London, and I think that somebody raised the Gartner report that suggested, at least in the B2B space, buying teams we know have grown. I think it was sort of 5 to 6 about 5 years ago to sort of 10 to 11. Now they estimate that there are about 20 different individuals that are influencing that decision. So it's very complex, lots of different stakeholders involved in these decisions. And so having that visibility around all of the behaviors of these stakeholders within that company is going to give you a huge amount of intelligence.
Exactly. But that's basically it. What we've talked about today is Leadoo Personalizer. It gives a personalized experience to a person visiting the website. You don't have to make it into rocket science, or as George W. Bush would say, rocket surgery. It can be something fairly simple as well. I mean, talking about giving the right kind of references that you worked with previously by knowing the industry of the website visitor is already going to help a lot. It's something meaningful, it's something helpful. And then we talked about Leadoo sales. It's the next step in personalization. It's connecting people, the salesperson, with their lead source, their opportunity master, the company, the person representing the company on the website, and connecting those people together again. They probably already talked previously, but at the right time, connecting those people. And thirdly, in order to drive the right kind of people to the website and to drive the right kind of people from the right ICP companies, from the right sources that we know that work, we need conversion analytics. That's the sort of the let's call it the holy trinity of today that we're sort of launching with Leadoo 3.0. That's basically it. Jan, anything you'd like to add to all of this?
One concluding thought is coming back to what I was saying previously is, really focus on thinking about how you can humanize the experience more on your websites. I think hyper-personalization makes it a lot more human. And I think to also consider all the different friction points that may be holding your website back from actually converting more. So really make it low friction and make it as hyper-personalized as possible. And that will definitely go a long way to humanizing the experience for your customers on your website. So that would be my sort of concluding remark. We would love to get feedback from you. We still have about 5 minutes if you'd like to ask some more questions. But of course, here is our details. Jan at Leadoo or Frederick.Runland at leadoo.com. Or, of course, you can contact, if you're an established customer, please get in touch with your customer success manager. And yeah, book a time with us to elaborate further and maybe discuss very specifically how these kinds of tools can potentially be implemented for your own website and in what way. So yeah, would love to hear more from you and get your feedback on what you've heard so far today.
And this has been a big endeavor for the entire Leadoo team this has been a product in the building for over a year already. And now it's sort of a culmination point of it also. So thank you to the whole Leadoo team as well at the same time if you're listening into this. And it's super exciting times for everybody in marketing. I think this is sort of something that all of you as current customers and future customers hopefully can benefit from. So
excellent. Well, I don't see any additional questions, so we can maybe give our guests 4 minutes back so they can maybe get their weekend started a little bit early. Maybe crack open a beer or a bottle of wine.
Or kombucha or whatever is your
kombucha, yeah, absolutely. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
All the best.